Hello, everybody. Welcome to TLDR Podcast, where we talk about sports and whatever random thing Eric wants to talk about. Well, in this case, I mean, it's whatever random thing Alex wants to talk about too, but that's besides the point. Today is Monday, July 13th, which is a little weird because we typically record on Tuesdays, but sometimes life gets in the way. You know, people have vacations, dads have birthdays, and we also have a fancy baseball draft tomorrow. Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah.
That being said, it's a Monday. So how was everybody's weekend? Anybody do anything fun? Eric, we'll start with you.
No, I didn't really do much. I golfed, but there's nothing worth mentioning about that. But I did looking at our Instagram post, it was great. I just saw some dude just immediately targeting Tyler on the fantasy football quarterbacks. He said, "Who the fuck is Tyler? We're gonna have a talk." And he's freaking out about Dak Prescott. It was fucking great. Classical Cowboys fan freaking out, but I just love that he picked Tyler of all people.
He's crying because Dak Prescott hasn't even been signed yet, and he's running out of days.
Yeah.
Probably.
Haters gonna hate, man. I don't care.
Tyler, how are you doing, man?
I'm tired. Literally spent the last 3 days driving cross country. Started in Florida. Just got back to California today. So yeah, I'm a little tired, but hey, we're here, ready to go. I showed up for you guys because that's how committed I am to this podcast. So,
wow,
you're
welcome. Step up, guy.
Yeah,
exactly.
What a guy.
He showed up late. Wow.
Of course he did. Let it be noted, he was 20 minutes late to this.
Better late than never.
Podcast.
Better late than never.
Late to a podcast.
Alex, how you doing?
Dude, I'm good. Good weekend. Took the dog to the beach for the first time. Figured out he could swim. That was big news.
That's a good
Yeah.
thing.
He just went. He just went for it, and I was like, "Oh fuck! If he doesn't know how to swim, that's a problem." But he figured it out. Yeah.
I cannot swim. You're right. Thank you for that. Telling my secret to the world over there.
That's impressive. I
Tradon,
feel like it's
how you doing?
hard to not know how to swim.
Dude, I'm good. Had some fun playing some golf on Saturday. Then we watched some fights. That was pretty fun. But hey, the NHL signed a long-term CBA. We're gonna have hockey for 6 more years without a stoppage. So it's kind of a big deal. First time in the last two deals that we don't have to deal with a stoppage. So I'm pretty excited. And we're going to the Olympics in the next 2 Olympics. So we're gonna see a Connor McDavid Crosby match team up. So that'd be pretty exciting.
Love that.
Team USA,
That's
bro.
big news.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be the one time that I'm actually gonna say fuck you to Connor McDavid for scoring against the Americans. But.
I mean that Team USA, Team Canada gold medal game. That was what? What year? What it was like 2012 or whatever it was.
That was 2010.
2010. That was one of the best sporting events I've ever watched live in my life. So I'm very excited for NHL to be back in the Olympics again. That's going to be awesome.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll just keep talking about hockey over here as Tradon gives us his first segment. It's the NHL play-in round, Western Conference edition. Tradon, take it away.
All right, here we go. So August 1st, that's when hockey's back. 5 to 6 games a day. So we're going to be watching so much hockey throughout the first, first week and a half of, return to play between the round robins and the play-ins. But we're going to focus on the play-ins because I don't think the round robin is really that much worth to talk about. I don't even think they're really going to play hard, to be honest with you. They're already in, so they don't give a fuck. Let's start out. Let's see what the matchups are. We got Calgary Flames 8th seed against the Winnipeg Jets, the 9th seed. On our post we said the Flames in 5, but I just want to know, Tyler, just off the cuff, what is your feeling about these teams before I kind of break them down?
Yeah, I think the West, this is going to be a good some good matchups there. I think that Jets Flames one is going to be pretty close. I honestly was kind of going back and forth.
Yeah.
I honestly picked the Flames because I'd picked all Pacific Division teams before that, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to go all Pacific Division teams. That's really the only reason why. But I could see that series going either way. I think those are two very evenly matched teams. So that should be a good one to watch.
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. Let's break it down. On the offensive side, the Flames have been kind of all over the place. They're ranked 20th in goals per game, but they have the firepower, and they and they've proven that. They have Johnny Gaudreau up there, Matthew Tkachuk, two guys that kind of are the young lifeblood of that team. And the last actually month and a half of the season, between February and to the stoppage of play, they were earning the most goals 5-on-5 of any team in the NHL. So they were hot coming out of February. The Jets ranked 17th in goals per game and have some solid names, Scheifele, Blake Wheeler, Kyle Connor, Patrick Laine, and Nikolai Ehlers. The bottom six are going to be huge X factors, I think, for that offensive side. What do you think of that? What do you think of that kind of breakdown, Eric? Who do you think's got the edge on that side?
Well, I'm biased and I hate Calgary Flames, so I'm going to go Winnipeg. But I've also liked Winnipeg these last few years. They remind me of the Kings a little bit in the playoffs. They got a lot of those big guys. They're tough. They could score goals. They could score gritty, greasy goals, yes, which is something you need in the playoffs. But I think it's going to be huge that they don't have Dustin Byfuglien, the Jets.
Yeah.
He's a big dog. He's won a cup before. He's been around. I don't really know what's going on with him. But, it's going to be a big loss to not have him on the defensive side. And not only that, he just bashes dudes in the boards.
Yeah.
Like that game versus Vegas where he just picked up two players and it looked like a mom picking up two children from fighting each other when they're kids. But I think right when that series starts, it's going to be a little disordered and just fast paced out of the gate.
I think so.
Lots of goal scoring.
I disagree with that, man.
Huh?
I disagree with you with that. I think Connor Hellebuyck, I think he's an elite goalie, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
922 percentage. That guy's insane.
Absolutely.
If he was a team on his own, he'd be the top ranked save percentage team.
Bouncing off that, James, to be honest, I think that the defense, and going back to what Eric said as well, the defensive side of the Jets is questionable.
Even with Hellebuyck back there.
No, the defense is questionable.
The ones in front of him.
That they're good.
Exactly. But
the only reason that they're good is Connor Hellebuyck, which is why I think that the Flames will win, because there's only so much that Hellebuyck can do. The Flames actually have a strong. So I'm going to bring up some analytics. 5-on-5 stats on Corsi stats, which actually kind of dictate who possesses the puck more. The Flames typically possess the puck more than half the time during their games. That's not going to really help a team that can't play defense. And again, Connor Hellebuyck can't do it all. So I think that's kind of a wrap. I don't think that the Jets are going to be able to handle the Flames, but it's going to be very close. I think you're right, Tyler. It's going to be a 5-game series for a reason. It's kind of a crapshoot. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I picked the Flames just because I think Johnny Gaudreau is probably a top 10 player in the league. He's probably my favorite player that's not a King. And I think with what we were talking about, and with Hellebuyck, he can only do so much. It kind of reminds me of the 2015, 2016 Kings, where Jonathan Quick was still elite, but the defense in front of him was kind of lacking. And he, sure, you give up 50 shots a game, but eventually some of those are going to squeak in. Hellebuyck's going to have to be almost perfect. And he could just go on a tear and carry that team a lot further than we think. But I had the Flames in 5. I think there's just I think they're a little too much. They're more balanced than what the Jets are. I think the Jets are very top heavy, and I think that balance will eventually win out in 5 games.
I would agree. And I think that everyone and their grandma hopes for the life of hockey that the Oilers and the Flames play the actual playoff round together, because that would be something that this league needs. So moving on, let's look at the Vancouver Canucks 7th seed versus the Minnesota Wild 10th seed. We have the Canucks winning in 4. So to open this up, Canucks rank 8th in goals per game, but rank 18th in shots per game. So they've been efficient, but they're lacking possession. And the Corsi numbers kind of show that. But they do have some firepower. I mean, Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser, Bro Horvat, they lead the charge. And then they have some vets, Joey T. Miller, Tyler Toffoli, and his buddy Tanner Pearson from the Kings. Our Kings fans here will recognize those names. They're also getting a lot of help from their defensive star, Quinn Hughes. He has 8 tucks, 45 apples, 53 points. That's a solid season for a young defenseman. Kind of been a huge, help up front there. The Wild's really only been led by Kevin Fiala, who's had a bounce back season. I mean, they're getting some help from their vets, Eric Stahl, Zach Parise, and Matt Zuccarello, but I think that they're going to need some more help on the offensive side, in my personal opinion. They do have better 5-on-5 stats, and so they are possessing the puck more statistically. But if you can't put the puck in the net, it doesn't really matter. James, what do you think about the offensive matchups there?
Well, I think the Canucks will definitely take that offensively. I was looking at the stats earlier, and the Canucks are number 3 in power play goals with 57, and then the Wild are the bottom third, then ranked number 24 with 47 giving up. So that doesn't really help the Wild's case at all. And also they're pretty old. Like the Wild are old, man. Like 5 of their top 6 players in terms of points are 30 or older. And I'm not really sure how teams. Exactly. I don't know how that's going to really take a toll on them after taking such a big break. Are they in shape? Can they get in shape that fast? It's tough to know.
Right.
Is Stalock going to guard the fucking net for them, or is it going to be Dubnyk, dude?
I'm not even going to talk about the defense. We already talked about this, okay?
Let's not get into that again.
Vancouver, on the defensive side, Vancouver ranks 20th in goals per game at 3.1. They've also struggled in shot attempts against, and they have a terrible they're kind of are terrible in that perspective. And their 5-on-5 stats are not great for that. And history shows that no team has been successful with these type of numbers. So they better either figure that out, or they're just going to they may win this series, but they're going to be out real quick, when it actually matters, in a 7-game series. Minnesota does rank 11th in shots allowed per game, which is actually better than average. And they have stronger D stats in terms of their Corsi stats. And they have Ryan Suter, who just eats up minutes. Jaron Spurgeon's back there, and Matt Dunbar back there, pretty solid Ds, which will help stay lucky, Tyler, what do you think? What do you think of the defensive side of the game with these two?
It's going to be a close matchup. Honestly, I think it's going to be on the offensive side where it is, where the difference is going to make. And I think defensively, it's pretty even. But offensively, that's where the Canucks have the advantage, and I think that's where they're going to win. So that's where I'm looking on that side of the puck for that series. Defensively,
Alex, are you shaking your head? You got something to say?
What a moron!
I mean, I'm just putting. I mean, Tyler's an idiot, but that's just a go-to with kind of anything he says. I actually have the Wild winning this series. I did it mostly based off of experience. The Canucks have not been to the playoffs in a while. The Wild are a team that get there every single year and then doesn't feel like they can get past like the first or second round. They've run into the Blackhawks and the Blues and the Predators in their own division, and those are tough teams to get through. I just think experience wins out. I mean, other than Toffoli and Pearson, who have obviously made long runs with the Kings in the past, a lot of that team has never experienced playoff hockey before. And, James, how you were talking about how they're older and can they get back into shape? I'm thinking that it's kind of the other direction, where the break is going to help their legs because they can rest. And if they are in shape, I think the Wild, with their experience, can squeak by. But out of my picks, this is the one I feel the least confident about.
Got it.
But I do have the Wild. I have the Wild in 4.
They can't let the Canucks have a lot of power plays just going.
Yeah. If they keep it 5-on-5 and they're experienced,
fucked.
they know how to not take penalties. I think they can squeak by. This is like one of the only upsets I picked.
Got it. I mean, I think it's going to be an interesting series either way. I think any of these series are just like a coin flips in some respects. Let's move on. Let's look at the Smashville Predators 6th seed against the Arizona Coyotes 11th seed. We have the week consensus have the Preds winning in 5. Nashville has always had kind of a strong, offensive core, but they don't always show up. Philip Forsberg leads the group with his talent and his crazy swagger goals, and he's nuts. They rank 16th in goals per game, so just below average, but they rank a strong 5th in shots per game. So they're getting rubber on twine, and that helps you win games for sure. They've seen some offensive regression under this new bench boss, but they have improved on the defensive side. So you could say you give up some to gain some, kind of goes that way. The Coyotes, on the other hand, they've struggled offensively. They rank 23rd in goals per game, and 14th in shots per game. So they're above average on the shots, but they just can't get it get it in the back of the net. So they just don't produce enough quality scoring chances. Nick Schmaltz is their leading scorer with 45 points in 75 games. That's terrible. And they went out of their way. They mortgaged their future for Phil Kessel and Taylor Hall. They have one player who was a 20-goal scorer this season. Eric, what do you think of this?
Well, I think it's going to be another coin flip series. I think it actually is going to be close. But what you're saying, in the season, if you don't see a guy sticking out with a bunch of goals, that's not good for the season. But it sounds more like they have a lot of team effort in the playoffs. You get Kessel, he's experienced. He's a guy that will start contributing, especially in the playoffs. Taylor Hall has something to prove. He needs to prove himself. He was in that playoff series in the past against the Lightning that we kind of talked about last podcast, but he's got something to prove. And then another guy, Clayton Keller, he kind of reminds me, people are going to probably give me, he reminds me a little bit of a young Patrick Kane. And, it'd be nice to see this guy, Team USA. Nice to see him show out in the playoffs and prove himself. So if those three guys can combine and get some goals for them, they could maybe, hopefully, whoever, if it's Pecorine or Saros, they can cause some doubt. And if it's Saros, then he might get pulled right away and Rine's playing. All of a sudden, you're creating confusion with the goaltenders. I think that's the way the Coyotes can pull through.
Got it. Well, for time's sake, I want to save the best for last. Spend a lot of time on this one. Edmonton Oilers, 5th seed versus the Chicago Blackhawks, 12th seed. We have the Oilers in 4. Oilers rank 14th in goals per game, 29th in shots per game. We are dismal in that respect. Our shot temps are just below average, but not too far off the mark. But the Oilers have phenom Connor McDavid and likely Hart winner Leon Draisaitl, who leads the season with 43 tucks and 67 apples, 110 points. He's the only one who's beating, Connor McDavid in terms of stats this season. These two both lead the league in points. They eat up time, and they're pivotal first and second centers for the Oilers. But the Oilers have seen some juice in the latter half, thanks to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Kyler Yamamoto, who've come together with Leon to make a deadly. I don't even call them a second line; I call them a 1B line. They are just deadly. They're just eating second lines alive. The big question mark is who's McDavid going to play with, as well as are the bottom 6 going to continue their hot trend that they were realizing towards the end of the season. Blackhawks, on the other hand, rank 18th in goals per game. They have a deadly duo of Kane and Taves, who've just been, they've been veterans for
ever
a long time, and they're just so strong. And they're going to need that going forward. But their new rookie has put up 60. Dominic Kubalik has put in 30 goals in 68 games. So pretty solid for a rookie. And they got Dylan Strome, Alex DeBrincat, Alexander Nylander, and Eric's Kirby Duck showing up the bottom 9. Tyler, what do you think of that? What do you think of this series here?
Yeah, I think the Oilers, just that top matchup with Draisaitl and McDavid is going to be too much for the Blackhawks to handle. They're just such a good duo. I think the Blackhawks certainly can give them a run for their money. I think they have a lot of experience, but they are older. I think the Oilers are younger, got more speed. And I think they're just going to outskate the Blackhawks. Also, I was the only one that picked the Arizona Coyotes to win the last series, so I just wanted to put that out there before
we
moved on.
Did you want to give your reasons why real quick?
Just because the Nashville Predators in the last 2 seasons have just disappointed in the playoffs. I don't see that changing anytime soon. I think yes, the Coyotes have been disappointing on offense this season, but they've had a break. Maybe they'll regroup, reset, and then have a good playoff run. So that's what I'm hoping for.
That's fair. Back to the Oilers. Defensively, they rank 15th goals allowed per game. They've also given up we gave up a lot of shot attempts compared to the league average, resulting in a pretty bad Corsi percentage of 48%, which means we don't possess the puck more than half the game. But they have really improved since Kailer Yamamoto came in, and he's really kind of helped our 5-on-5 play. The Oilers rely on our tank and anchor Oscar Klefbom and newbie sensation Ethan Bear. Plus, you can consider Mike Smith a defenseman sometimes because he heads-mans the puck better than half of our defensive core anyway, which is weird for a goalie.
Mike Green, my bad.
Yeah, Blackhawks ranked just behind the Oil at 16 goals allowed per game, but shot suppression has not been their strength. They rank dead last in shots allowed. They allow 35 shots a game on average. That is not if you're gonna give McDavid and Draisaitl 35 shots, you're in for a world of hurt, I think.
Does Brent Seabrook make any difference whatsoever? Because he's back now.
Okay, yeah. So Brent Seabrook, dude, here's my issue.
Yeah, he's gonna be watching McDavid do this.
Yeah, here's the thing. Those two back in their dynasty days were just very good, very solid. But I think, Alex, you can agree they've come down from grace. They're not what they used to be.
Yeah, the Blackhawks, even, the duo, it's really like 75% Patrick Kane, who's just still an elite talent, where Taves has really fallen off, which is fine because honestly, fuck that guy.
Always.
I fucking hate that guy. Yeah, I have the Oilers in 4. I think the goaltending for the Blackhawks is going to be a big issue too. Corey Crawford, same thing. He has not been the same. I believe their backup is Malcolm Subban.
Yeah.
PK's younger brother. He's shown spurts of greatness, but never has really put it on for even like a half of the season. He was in there for the Knights for a bit when Fleury was hurt a couple years ago. I can't envision the Blackhawks having enough just overall depth to deal with the Oilers' depth. I've also got, I know it's only $5, but I've got $5 on this series, and I want to win.
There you go.
So, yeah, I've got the Oilers in 4. I don't think the Blackhawks really have that much of a chance.
James, what do you think?
Definitely the Oilers in 4. Like, maybe an Oilers in 3. The Oilers just too good in my opinion, man. The Blackhawks used to be really good, but the Oilers, that offense, that first line, there's not much to say about them. They're going to win.
Yeah, I think I'm taking a quote that I hear from Sportsnet every single day. I feel like that, we got our primary scoring from McDavid, we got our secondary scoring on Draisaitl's line, but that tertiary scoring is what's going to put us over the edge. And if our bottom 6 can provide that, I don't think that the Blackhawks have a chance. I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible, but I just don't think that they have the firepower to keep up. But just finally, just before I end here, the Oilers have been sporting a 50-50 split for their netminders, give or take. They ranked 14th in save percentage. Koskinen kind of leads the charge there. He's been far superior to Mike Smith. But Mike Smith has helped transform puck movement out of the D zone, as I mentioned. So it's interesting what different type of style play the Oilers, play when they're depending on the goaltender. Chicago boasts better goaltending, but that is kind of misleading because their top performer was traded away, and I think that was prior to the Blackhawks realizing they have a chance to make the playoffs. So I'm pretty sure they're kicking themselves in the ass for that one. But
oh well.
So we'll be against Mike or Corey Crawford, and I'm pretty excited for that. So other than that, that's the West, boys. August 1st, let's go.
All right. Our hockey guy Tradon doing hockey things. Thank you very much, Tradon.